Okay, so I'm using cotton ready-made binding. We are going to take our double fold binding and we are going to lay it out flat like so. But we also want to enclose the raw edge of the short end of our binding. So you're going to fold it in half or fold it down like this, about an inch or so, and then go ahead and use clips and match up that raw edge. All right, so I've gone around and I've clipped it almost all the way around. Now, once you come to the end, you're going to want to overlap the binding. So you're going to go just past where our binding started. And what we're doing here is it'll enclose the other raw edge of our binding once we cut it off. So have it overlap about an inch or so, inch-ish, and then cut your binding. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and go around all the way around here with approximately a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. What I like to do is, when you have pre-folded binding, it has the fold lines in there. I usually end up following that first fold line, which is just over 1/4 of an inch. And again, if you want to see the positioning of a bag doing this on a flatbed machine, make sure you check out my class, which I have below, on binding when I did the tutorial on my flatbed machine. So make sure you use a lot of clips. Make sure everything is staying in place. You don't want it to shift. You want to make sure that you are catching everything. Corners are the hardest part because the binding likes to shift. If your binding feels like it's shifting at all, sometimes the stiletto helps to hold it in place as you sew. I also have my zipper foot on. I always use my zipper foot when I'm doing binding. I find it's just a little bit easier to help feed it through. And then backstitch when you get to the beginning again. Okay, so now you want to make sure everything was caught, so I double check, and then once that looks good, we are going to fold our double fold over. So I like to start at the bottom to make sure that where we have our overlap, that we have them nice and overlapping evenly so we have no raw edges showing. And then I work my way around the rest of the bag. Now again, I have changed my thread to match my lining and my binding, just because sometimes those stitches do show, and if it's the same color, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy because nobody will ever see it. Now, what's the binding? Yes, you can see it a little bit in the bag, but really it's caught in the seams. So if it is not utmost perfection and straight lines, it's never going to be noticed if you're using the same color thread, that is. So go ahead and you clip that all the way around, and then we're going to go right along that fold there and sew it the folded side down, which is approximately 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So it's almost like top stitching along that fold at an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, or 3/8 of an inch in from the other side. So I am using my stiletto as it just helps me keep it in place, especially around those corners. So I'm just going to go double check the seam, make sure I have no puckers and that everything looks okay.